My First Summer in the Sierra by John Muir. September 2nd. A grand, red, rosy, crimson day. A perfect glory of a day. What it means, I don't know. It is the first marked change from tranquil sunshine with purple mornings and evenings and still white noons. There is nothing like a storm, however. The average cloudiness only about 0.08, and there is no sighing in the woods to betoken a big weather change. The sky was red in the morning and evening, the color not diffused like the ordinary purple glow, but loaded upon separate, well-defined clouds that remained motionless, as if anchored around the jagged, mountain-fenced horizon. A deep red cap, bluffy around its sides, lingered a long time on Mount Dana and Mount Gibbs, drooping so low as to hide most of their bases, but leaving Dana's round summit free, which seemed to float separate and alone over the big crimson cloud. Mammoth Mountain, to the south of Gibbs and the Bloody Canyon, striped and spotted with snowbanks and clumps of dwarf pine, was also favored with a glorious crimson cap, in the making of which there was no trace of economy, a huge bossy pile colored with a perfect passion of crimson that seemed important enough to be sent off to burn among the stars in majestic independence. One is constantly reminded of the infinite lavishness and fertility of nature, inexhaustible abundance amid what seems enormous waste. And yet, when we look into any of her operations that lie within reach of our minds, we learn that no particle of her material is wasted or worn out. It is eternally flowing from use to use, beauty to yet higher beauty, and we soon cease to lament waste and death, and rather rejoice and exult in the imperishable, unspendable wealth of the universe, and faithfully watch and wait the reappearance of everything that melts and fades and dies about us, feeling sure that its next appearance will be better and more beautiful than the last. I watched the growth of these red lands of the sky as eagerly as if new mountain ranges were being built. Soon, the group of snowy peaks in whose recesses lie the highest fountains of the Tulameen, Merced, and North Fork of the San Joaquin were decorated with majestic, colored clouds like those already described, but more complicated to correspond with the grand fountainheads of the rivers they overshadowed. The Sierra Cathedral, to the south of camp, was overshadowed like Sinai. Never before noticed so fine a union of rock and cloud in form and color and substance, drawing earth and sky together as one, and so human is it. Every feature and tint of color goes to one's heart, and we shout, exulting in wild enthusiasm, as if all the divine show were our own. More and more, in a place like this, we feel ourselves part of wild nature, kin to everything, spend most of the day high up on the north rim of the valley, commanding views of the clouds in all their red glory, spreading their wonderful light over all the basin, while the rocks and trees and small alpine plants at my feet seemed hushed and thoughtful, as if they also were conscious spectators of the glorious new cloud world. Here and there, as I plodded farther and higher, I came to small garden patches and ferneries, just where one would naturally decide that no plant creature could possibly live. But as in the region about the head of Mono Pass and the top of Dana, It was in the wildest, highest places that the most beautiful and tender and enthusiastic plant people were found. Again and again, as I lingered over these charming plants, I said, "How came you here? How do you live through the winter?" "Our roots," they explained, "reach far down the joints of the summer-warmed rocks, and beneath our fine snow mantle killing frosts cannot reach us, while we sleep away the dark half of the year dreaming of spring." Ever since I was allowed entrance into these mountains, I have been looking for cassia, said to be the most beautiful and best loved of the heathworts, but strange to say, I have not yet found it. On my high mountain walks, I keep muttering, "Cassia, cassia." This name, as Calvinists say, is driven in upon me, notwithstanding the glorious host of plants that come about me uncalled as soon as I show myself. Cassia seems the highest name of all the small mountain heath people, and as if conscious of her worth, keeps out of my way. I must find her soon, if at all, this year.